Hello and welcome to Season 4, Episode 13 of Supercoach Swordplay. Boys, we're going to be working out injuries. It's not as easy as it looks. We've butchered it about 2 or 3 times already. How good is a long weekend, but how bloody terrible are those buys? I think the easiest one's sort of over and done with, but this is the one I think that is going to test a fair few sides. Before we get into all that, boys, how are we?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah, I managed to see a live win in Melbourne, which is really nice. Part of the what do you call it? The Guard of Honor as well. So lines up with the boys
so awesome.
just before the banner there. A few high fives to Chucky, Brucey, dunks on the way out, and what a win it was. So really great experience, particularly for the boys. And then had the family day the morning after. Got to chat with a few of the lads, a few signatures, and ripping long weekend for me. Janath, how about you, brother? What did you get up to? Anything too exciting, mates?
Oh, no, I wouldn't say overly exciting, perhaps, but yeah, it was just a good long weekend. My sister moved out recently, so she came back, spent a couple of days together with the family, all of us together, which was really nice. Mum made some home food, which is good, and everything. And yeah, back to work. It still feels like a Monday. Honestly, it was a very slow day.
It does. Tell me about it.
I'm not sure that this is exactly a Tuesday, but we're recording, so it must be a Tuesday. And of course, the elephant in the room.
Oh, I was
Mailbag has got a big win. They got a big win. Big win against the Dons, but I must say, great game.
You're obviously hosting. I wasn't even going to bring that up. So if you weren't going to bring it up, we just weren't going to talk about it. Just let that one go straight through the keeper. But, look, we may as well cover that one real quick. But that's probably the only time where Carlton have beaten us and I've gone, yeah, it's fine. Like, I don't care. Because far out, we had our opportunities. Did we just butcher it or not? I mean, 16 points, I'm pretty sure we kicked in the end. And I actually thought we were, at times, particularly in that third quarter, a lot more harder at it than you boys were. But we just could not hit a target. What are we doing with our disposal efficiency? And Carlton, just a little bit of finals experience. They have that polish, that class that we didn't have. And I think the buys come at a really critical time. So, yeah, it is what it is. I do not believe yet. I still think we're a bit of a fraud watch side, as Dan Gorringe would have us as. But, yeah.
One thing I'd say, Spills, is I thought you guys should have gone into the third three-quarter time in the lead. And when you guys didn't, I thought, you threw the best punch at us. There's no way you could sustain that energy into the fourth. And that man in picture there, a major culprit why you guys weren't ahead at the three-quarter time. His butchering in front of goal, I tell you what, as a Blues fan, it's awesome. But as a Supercoach fan, you're like, oh, come on, Nicky boy.
As a Bombers fan, like DR said it himself, going to the North game. I mean, a lot of the Bombers members, like, they hate Nick Martin at times because he's just such a hard watch. You never know what he's going to do. When it comes off, it's beautiful, but when it doesn't, he has you tearing your hair out. So he's got rough times, Nicky boy. But look, we love Nick Martin, and he's sitting there with the beanie and the $195 raised for beanies being purchased. So if you haven't got yourself a Swordplay beanie, jump on the website and get yourself one. I'm wearing one now, and it's just so warm. They're probably the most comfortable beanies I have, and I'm not being biased. I just think whoever designed these shouldn't win. So super pumped with them. But boys, I'm keen to get stuck in the Supercoach. We'll jump into the round reviews. I will quickly rapid fire myself. So 1942. So I thought it was pretty sort of par. I think it was a little above par this week. So bought in Neil. Can't remember who else. I think I bought in Jack Hutchinson, bloke they went to school with, and he had his opportunities at times. He looks really good, but just didn't see enough of it. Low time on ground, and then I think there was someone else that come in. Can't quite remember, but I think my trades were pretty effective this week. Neil was great on debut, and I was trying to think also the C on Gorn. So I got really lucky as well with that Dacos one because a lot of people took it off Dacos because of the tag. Yeah. I was lucky because I didn't see any of the pre-game stuff, but I already had the captaincy on Gorn because it was more of a gut feel. Like, he will respond. Melbourne are going to bounce back. He's too good of a captain not to have a good game. So I felt like Gorn was just a real safe as house as captain. So that was the only reason I actually see it. It was not like I had it on Dacos and then took it off because of the tag. I didn't know anything about it, so got a little bit fortunate there. And yeah, a couple of players that I really cannot wait to get rid of. Try and get this art sorted. With Netty Boy, has been a good rookie for 2 weeks, and Clary Oliver, can't wait to get him out of my side as well. A day can't come soon enough. So I think I had a pretty good week. 3 trades I made, and I'm probably looking at making another 3 this week. So being super aggressive. I'm not mucking around. I'm trying to get these buy players off the field and get as many premiums on as possible. So I got a bit of a strategy that we'll talk about later, but I won't dive into that now. DR, you're obviously the man of the hour this week. You've nearly hit the 2,000 mark, which is a sensational effort. Were you also one to bring in Lockie Neal, mate?
Yes, I was, mate. I was. The two of us brought him
Good
in.
boy.
Remember back to last week, Spills? Originally, it was the 3 brothers all in together, all cards in, all chips in on Lockie
We have
Neal.
that loyalty on the podcast, don't we? One thing I love about the Swordplay pod is we always have that loyalty
to each other. Yeah, a promise to each other. We're all invested together here, boys. It's like when you go with that, really expensive racehorse, you go thirds. And how would it feel, Spills, if the bloke that went thirds just nicked out on you and you had to pay half each? But we may talk about that in a little bit, mate. Not mention any names here, but look, not too bad for me, mate. For 1989 at the end of the day, I did bring Lockie in. And look, not too bad. Wasn't wonderful, but not too bad here, mate. And who's the other bloke I brought in? It was
Will Dawson.
He's the one I forgot because I didn't even see him. That's why I forgot.
We just want to put this out of our mind, Spills, and just forget the nightmare that was Will Dawson.
He's just a loop now.
Dawson.
Yeah, that's it. It's a great loop for Fisher.
That's we talked about this last week, didn't we? Worst case scenario is he's going to be a decent loop for us. So
we got the worst case.
Yeah. Look, he's out for they say the medium turn, and there's no expected date of return. So he's a loop for me, but it is what it is. But what really annoyed me most of all was the fact that after he got his duck egg and then Jolly Boy only delivered a 50 odd, I thought, you know what? I'm going to reverse my trades here. I'm going to keep on to Darcy Wilson and keep on to Joe and trade out Joe Richards, because I think Wilson might be able to jag maybe a 75, 80. I'll lose a little bit of coin, but he'll get me an extra score on field. He gave me a 25. Absolutely shattered with that. So the good, the bad, and the ugly. And thanks to Janath and my man Pig Mentality, I actually switched off Dacos to Gorn. I thought if the two great men going with Gorn, then that's good enough for me. See you later, Nicky boy. And shout out to the boys in the team preview chat. They were all over Neil as the tagger pre-game as well. So that also solidified that Gorn captain choice this week. So very, very happy with that. But my rank is nothing like this man's. Janath, tell us about your week, brother.
Oh, I think this week is summed up by having too many fake primos. So, I mean, I have 3 M10s at the moment. Let's just put it that way. Took, Steele, and Tom Green. They're just, I don't know, man. It's going to be so hard to get into that top 100. Just carrying these blokes, and then having a big plonk off a ruckman in Tim English when Brodie Grundy's going gangbusters. Rowan Marshall's doing okay. Hell, even my boy Tom DeConning is doing really, really well as a solid ruckman. Tristan Cherry is doing really well as a solid ruckman. Then you got Tim English, and you're like, contract year. And the stars should be aligning, man. And so just owning these blokes is just a pain to watch. I'm not really going to be too reactive to it. Nick Martin as well, probably a fake premium. Doesn't have a defined role anymore. It's just so hard to back in. And look, I ended up going Josh Dunkley in the end. So I'm sorry, but wait, let me put to this analogy. You boys paid half, and you got more winnings. So I mean, you boys won in the end. Let's be real here. But I think there was method to my madness. I was talking with so at work I have a Supercoach mate, Dan. Shout out to you, Dan. We talk Supercoach at work in the middle of our diagnostic runs. And we were talking, and I'm like, if anyone's going to benefit from this new holding the ball interpretation, it's going to be Josh Dunkley. quicker, more holding the balls. He didn't get one hold in the ball, but he got 104. It's respectable. Lockie Neal's game, I thought, if you gave me that stat sheet, that's 150, 155, 160 right there. He got robbed. And you know what? We'll talk about it on the next slide. My boy, Tuki Miller, copped it this week. And I have a very bad suspicion that your boy, Lockie Neal's going to cop it from Marcus Windhager this week, boys.
Oh, it's not going to be fun, Janath. And do you know what, Spills? We're ranting and raving at the moment. Head bobble with Lockie Neal. You watch in like 6 weeks' time, he'll cop a couple of tags. Janath's sitting with Dunkley's 130s to Neal's 70s. And we
that's the season.
Why weren't we involved in this conversation with Dan as well and jumped on Dunks?
Boys, just very quickly, I just want to give you some good data, and it's a big sample size. In round, whatever next round is for Max Gawn against Brisbane, chuck the C on him, and I'll give you some data for it. After losses this year, these are Max Gawn scores. So after Melbourne losses, round 1 after the opening round loss, 162. Round 7 after the round 6 loss, 162. Round 10 against West Coast, this one he started on like -4 or something, 109. And then round 11 against St Kilda, 180. And now we've got the 132 to add in there as well. So 4 of those 5 games after Melbourne losses have been 132 plus. Lock him in against Brisbane. I reckon he's going to go to the moon. We saw him. We saw
he's
how
such a good captain
against Oscar.
Continuously bounces back.
I saw it all right.
Against Melbourne. Even North Melbourne. Sorry. North Melbourne, Tristan Cherry at the G. Back him in as the C. Just lock him in straight up.
Yeah.
Jump on him. All right. Well, let's see who's at the top of the pod. I wonder who's sitting at the top, Spills.
Yeah, so Janath, what a season he's having. I mean, he's fallen back into the 300 rank this week. Very, very unlucky for the most part, but not a massive decline in the rank from him. So he's looking pretty settled there. DR, a pretty good week, really, really solid. So he's jumped up into the top 1.1K.
Top 1K, yeah.
And mine was pretty mediocre. I only went up about 600 spots, but I think this is... I've been looking at my matchups, and because of I think the Oliver trade completely stuffed me up because he's technically an upgrade. So, but he's a complete bullshit artist on my Supercoach team. There's like he's a fake primo. Janath's dropping all the fake primos.
There's a few of them going around it, Spills.
But I'm like an upgrade behind everybody. So I'm using these 3 trades every bye week just to try and wheel my way back into the comp. So I'm planning to really come home strong. So 6.7K is not pretty, but it's only temporarily, boys. So we'll keep coming. But yeah, Janath clearly the number 1 man of the pod, and probably that will not change for the rest of the year unless his midfield just falls into pieces. Unless LDU breaks, but until that day, it's looking pretty good.
He's picking on your pods.
He's picking on my pods.
No, I'm just saying he's probably the most injury prone that come to mind. That is a bit stiff,
that's so stiff.
I don't think
knock on wood, mate. That's terrible.
Knock on wood. But boys, have a rant. So yes, DR, what do you got for what's going on here? Talk us through this. What is happening?
It's a bit of a different graphic, mate. But I had a few things to rant about. Originally, it was going to be about Lockie Neal's score, which Janath touched on before. That stat line, 134. Give us an absolute spell. That goal right on the halftime siren. Yeah, it was such an elite game from Lockie. It really was the all-round game. But I'll tell you what, I'm ranting. And my mate Tomo. Now, Tomo, you can get absolutely stuffed, mate. I've been copping messages from late Sunday night going into today as well, because I had a really important league matchup. Now, this is a really, really important one for me, a big battle between Tomo and myself. And it really did come down to this week, the fact that I didn't own Bodie Uland and he didn't own Nicky Boy Dacos. He got over the line by 20, 30 odd points. Give me an absolute spell. This is an absolute luck bot. What sort of a world do we live in where Dacos gives a 60-something and this bloke goes a 150-something? to lose such a crucial league match. And really, this is what it came down to. So absolutely dirty on this, Tomo. You can get stuffed, mate. Stop with the messages because you want to look at the overall ranks, mate. You're at about 38K. I just looked it up. I'm at 1. So Tomo, a bit of a drive-by for you there, mate.
We love
Stop
a drive-by on this podcast. Don't take it personally.
Nah, I'm getting right into this, man. I'm getting right. I had a few this week. I was going to go at a couple of the blokes that had a crack at me for that little Bevo video there. Gave Bevo some feedback.
That's putrid. That is awful. I'm not going to mention his name.
And all this sort of stuff. So some people took exception to what was clearly a joke and just a bit of fun banter. I was going to give them a rocket, but Janath, very quickly, mate, just to give you a little bit of an extra rocket from last week, just look at the right-hand corner of this screen, mate. You and Tuki Boy all snug last week, loving life after that goal after a 50-point, what was it, last 5 minutes odd. But not so happy this week, mate. How you feeling? How's your relationship with Tuke going after round 13, my brother?
I think they're on the rocks a little bit.
We're on the rocks, mate. We're on the rocks. It's a love-hate relationship. A lot more hate than love at the moment. But I mean, I can't really blame him. He tried his best, tried to shake the tag, but Marcus Windhager stuck to him like super glue. And I hope that super glue transfer gets off Tuke and he goes to a certain Brisbane midfielder, a dual Brownlow medalist, in fact, this week.
Don't even put your voodoo spells on us here, mate.
He tagged the tagger. He tagged the tagger. So what do you think is going to happen when they play Brisbane? He's not going to tag. Yeah, he's going to tag Jared Berry or Josh Dunkley. He's not going to go after Neil.
No, do you know what's going to happen, Spills? Josh Dunkley is going to completely sacrifice his game, put some blocks on for Lockie, and Chocky's going to rack up 30 and make Windy look absolutely silly. I think, mate.
See that happening as well.
But it's false hope, Janath. It is absolute false hope.
I'll tell you what with Tuki Mill. I'm like, love-hate relationship. Casually look at what his price is to trade out. He doesn't even have enough money on his head to trade out to anyone good. So he's just locked himself into the team, I guess.
Tuki boy. Yeah. Sometimes you love him and sometimes you hate him, Janath, don't you, mate?
Hot topics time, boys. So we've got a few hot topics this week. So I will say straight off the bat, I unfortunately think I'd remember, but they're Dons, man. I can't off. But our mid-season draft boy, the boy of the defensive mid.
Ouch.
Yeah. So he was someone that I was really looking forward to bringing in my side next week, and I think I probably will because I was talking to DR on Saturday about a defensive midfield loop that I'm going to be running. So finishing my defense with 6 in defense, and then probably Dacos in the midfield with a bit of a loophole. We'll talk about that later. But he's out, which is a shame. 27 disposals, 4 goals. Gee, did he look good? I think he would have come straight in for Nick Hind after the bye. But I think that's just so stiff. So syndesmosis, he's going to be out for an extended period of time, 6 to 8 weeks. That's straight off the bat. That's all I've got to add. But DR, you've obviously got a few more up your sleeve, or Janath, whoever's been jotting down.
I can cover it if you want, boys. So,
yeah, go for it, man. Yep.
So DR, I know obviously you're looking to bring in Brody Grant this week. I've got some good news for you, mate. Kieran Strachan cleared of any groin damage, soreness. He should be right to play this week, as long as Riley O'Brien obviously is named. Strachan gets through, but nothing wise in terms of this sub. So Brody Grundy may have a feast day at Adelaide Oval, and he's one that we've got listed in the captain's corner to come up a bit later on. Colby McKercher. Now, for a couple of weeks now, I've been going on about how I think that McKercher's probably longer term than a short-term injury. Well, North have dropped a very, very promising update for his owners. 1 week. He's 1 week away, apparently. So this has implications, obviously, for that entire North team in terms of McKercher owners themselves, but also Zach Fisher owners. What does Fisher's output look like? I'd still say Fisher should be okay as long as Sheasel is kept in that midfield. He may not have the ceiling scores because he was really tracking for 130 before he went off with, at the time, looked like a leg injury, but was just cramp, according to Supercoach reporter John Ralph. It's the first time I've ever liked a John Ralph message. Normally he's trying to put Carlton players under the bus in the tribunal, but yeah, good man, John Ralph. Dion Prestia, 1 to 2 week calf injury. Poor bloke. Those calves and hammies just made of
Is there any more injury-prone player in the game than?
Nah,
It's
There's-
very sad,
there's
mate.
not.
It can't
That-
be.
Zach Reed. Zach Reed.
Zach
Reed,
Reed,
yeah.
maybe. I tell you what, sorry,
Tom
finishing it
Lynch.
very quickly. I mentioned in
Yeah.
the Stocky last week when I was talking about some Richmond players, I said Presti's back in, but he'll be out and I shouldn't have jinxed him, right? But I said, but he'll be out next week. You just expect this with Prestia. Like,
It's
have
really
will
sad, yeah.
we ever be surprised to hear that Presti's out for another couple of weeks to a month? It's just,
And probably,
I love
yeah.
the meatball. He's a former Assumption College boy. I was an Assumption College boy back in the day. So I got a
There we
lot of
go.
love for the meatball, but he just can't get his body right. And his best days are well past him, unfortunately. Sorry, mate.
The sad
Continue on
part
with the
is
carnage.
He'll miss Dusty's 300th as well. So just a real bittersweet
Yeah,
one there.
sad.
But
Yeah.
hopefully this opens the door for who I thought was a bit stiff to be made sub. But Kane McCall of 32 and 12% time on ground. What could have been with the full game, really? So hopefully this just unlocks a full game for him. Your boy Spills, sorry, I might butcher this name. Yasad El Hawawi.
Yeah. How are we,
you guys
mate?
lost El Hawi.
Sad, how are we, mate?
You guys lost
We
a
did-
side, and you went and got another side.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking watching your boy now run out there. Like you notice the
He's still
boos
getting
were just
booed.
you're
He's
still getting booed, but
It's
the
been 3
boos were
years,
long
mate.
gone in the
Move
fourth
on.
quarter. We secretly loved him so much that we just can't
Yeah.
accept the fact that he's gone because he was.
Oh,
But yeah, we
man.
lost another side. It's very unfortunate.
Lost
'cause
another. So 6
he
to
looked
8
the
weeks
goods.
with the syndesmosis, and as Spills was saying, he'd kicked 4 goals up until the time he got injured, which is really
That's
unfortunate.
impressive.
Undergone surgery.
27
yeah.
disposals on top of that too. If
He
you
was
don't
looking
mind.
really good. It was looking really good.
You guys have done really well. Like, remember you got Durham, Massimo as well from the mid-season draft.
from mid-season.
Someone else, I
Sna-
think, on.
We got
on
Snelling, but he wasn't that great.
Oh, but
but
that's
yeah.
like Snelling's a decent
Decent player.
footballer.
It was
absolutely.
good for a couple of years.
Yeah,
And
you guys have
Gresham-
nailed
Gresham's
that.
the only reason you got the list. Yeah.
Top 3 in a
Good
BNF,
recruiting.
I think he came once. Will Snelling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a bum whatsoever. Yeah.
Jared Witts is going to be available straight after their bye, so this should
See
be
you,
red
Nettie.
flags and Ned Moyle owners, but he's done
See you
the
later,
job,
Phil.
made 120K
Going
in
it,
2
yep.
weeks.
Yeah.
For
Here we
the
go.
ones that jumped on. Track is a to be decided, to be confirmed.
That's bad, isn't
Really
it? How bad
unfortunate.
is that?
4 broken ribs, lacerated kidney, collapsed lung. It's just like you could just tell that he was gone. And he says that he wanted to be the one to come back on, but surely there's a duty of care there from the medicos just to say, clearly you're not right, mate. If that was your son, for instance, you wouldn't be sending them. You wouldn't be wanting to see them back out there, would you?
No, that was a very silly
Absolutely not.
thing that they did. They should have just kept him off.
Just take him off.
Don't know if you guys caught it, but our very own Shorty, he had a bloody red hot rant about Petrarca because he bought him in. So he just teed off on him in his round review. So he's
Poor
had an
Track.
absolute mare.
Come on, Shorty, teeing off on track. You know, he tried to get back out there, mate.
I wouldn't say it
Oh,
was. I wouldn't say it was personal. It wasn't personal to Track, obviously, but yeah, just the score. That 60 in his
man.
midfield, that's a
It
shocker,
hurts.
but
Yeah.
he
Well,
hurt a
yes.
few. He's in over 20% of sides too.
Yeah, he is.
Petrarca, so
He is
he's
very
far from a
popular
pod.
pick.
Yep.
But I guess at the bright side, we'll talk about some options for Track owners, especially on the buy. It's a pretty move on. And I guess the last one is Nick Dacos has survived any sort of damage, and he should be good to go against North Melbourne. Before we get on to the buys, these set of buys, DR, I'm going to give you guys a little pop quiz. So we obviously talked about the big 7, or we'll talk about the big 6 midfielders, excluding Dane Zorc. I've got some numbers. I've got some numbers on the ownership jumps from last week to this week, the start of this week. So we'll go, who do you think was the most common trade-in, and who do you think was the most common or least common trade-in out of the 6? So I'm talking Tom Green, Errol Goulden, Lockie Neal, LDU, Josh Dunkley, Chad Warner. Who was the most common and who was the least common?
I'm going to say Lockie Neal for most common.
Yep.
I reckon least common would be, I'm going to say Dunkley or Green. Green mainly because I think he's got high ownership.
Smart.
So that's for me. Yep.
Probably the same almost. Yeah, I know Warner was up there. I think Dunkley probably
Okay.
maybe LDU. I'm gonna go LDU.
All right. You didn't
Is
back
he-
in my pick, but LDU was second. He was the second most traded in out of that 6. So
Are you
Lockie
kidding
Neal
me?
was the
Far
first,
out. Wouldn't have even-
19.9% increase in ownership. LDU was second, 10.7 increase. So this is in the top 1%, by the way. So I'm just, again, that was the number I gave last week. So just FYI. So it went from 5.7 to 16.4. Errol Goulden was third. He went up from 2.8 to 11.5. Fourth was Tom Green. He went from 78 to 85% of the top 1%. And those owners must be thinking, what the hell did I just buy?
Oh, no. What am I invested in?
Josh Dunkley was fifth. So he went from 5.2 to 8.4. And surprisingly, Chad Warner was the least common traded in player last round out of the big 6. Just 0.8%. So 7.4 to 8.2% ownership. So that's very, very interesting.
Right up there.
I would have thought he'd been right up there as well. But maybe that's the echo chamber, the Twitter circle they were in, because it felt like Chad Warner was a very, very common trading option amongst sort of the coaches.
I think there's a really common reason here to why that would be, because a lot of people would see his game and be like, yeah, he's an absolute jet, got a low break even, all this sort of outside stuff, where those that really dive into it, I mean, yeah, you're going pretty well if you're up there the top 1%. I will say, I think many would think that scoring 3 goals, to get a good score isn't very sustainable. Like he had the most off its, I think it was the second quarter or the third, I can't remember, but he went bananas, kicked 2 goals and just exploded. Barely hit a ton. So if he's got to do that to hit a ton, like that's not very sustainable. I think a lot of coaches up there, I suppose, they know better and they look at the role. That's why I didn't pick him, boys. That's why I went with Lockie Neal, because at least you're paying up for what you're getting.
Roll goal.
Yeah. Very interesting. Hey, boys, I'll tell you what, while we've got the opportunity and we're talking about the buys, I reckon that we might have a question, and we've always got a little bit of interest in how our buy structure is actually looking. So maybe before we talk about some quick options here that are actually coming off the buy, I might start off with this, and let's talk about how many players we're looking to have this week and possibly even next week as well. So this week, I know for many teams is, let's just call it the tough buy here. So show buys is always a great feature. I think you've got to have Supercoach Gold, but it actually blurs out the blokes that aren't available this week to give you a better idea. So I'll be, so I've got 5 in the back line. I'll have a full complement of midfielders at the moment, which is good. So that's 8, which will make that 13. I am going to train in Brody Grundy, hopefully, which will make that 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 at the moment. That's not including Garcia, who is a very, very slim chance of playing. But the other blokes that I'm including my 18, I'd be pretty shocked if any of those guys were omitted. So anyone ready to jump in next? Janath, how are you looking this week, mate? Because you're right up there with the rankings.
Yeah, mate.
How many players are looking to have on field this week, mate?
Some pre-trades 18, but that's 15 primers and just 3 rookies. So, and one of those rookies is a loop between McAuliffe, who you don't know if he's going to get a full game, and Sullivan. So McAuliffe, Sullivan, and then Garcia, Fraser are the only rookies that are on field, or just there. And then you got 15 primers, which is, I guess, being very kind to the likes of Tom Green, Jack Steele, Tim English at this point, but we still got to call them primers for the sake of doing so. So, pre-trades, I'm not really looking to make a splash upgrade or anything this week. It may just be getting the 19th, a Billy Dowling type in as a trade-in, if that's the case, if need be.
Beautiful. Spilsy, how you looking, mate?
Surprisingly, boys, pretty good. So I'm looking to be very aggressive in my trades this week, and all the players leaving my side are coming into a buy. So post trades, I couldn't tell you what it is before because it's a shambles, but post trades, I'm looking at 19 on field this week, which I think you take that every day of the week. So technically, 5 in defense, not counting Will Dawson. So hypothetically, if he didn't get injured, that'd be 6 right there, but it is what it is. So 5 in defense, a full midfield, no problems in the midfield. Obviously gone, so everyone's going to cop that one. And yeah, DR, guess what, mate? I'm bringing in Grundy this week. So yeah, we're gonna
you just copy each other's trades, I reckon.
We'll keep our word, Phil. We'll keep our word as well, mate. We're in this together, mate.
I saw enough. I was going to go English because I thought he has a. Just
don't. Spills, you'll hate it.
Spills.
People talking about it. DR and I were talking about it though.
Listen carefully to Janath and George. And ask them about their experience.
No.
You really want to go there?
I've been captured.
No, so I won't be on anywhere near for 10-foot long pole, boys. I'll be avoiding English, but
just don't. For your sanity.
I did like his consistency before these couple of absolute howlers that we've seen. But anyway, boys, so
howlers feels like he's still scoring okay. He just looks terrible. Like he's not a player you want to actively watch play.
He looks soft as.
Soft as butter, Spill says. Needs to work on the pipes.
So
needs to join you in some gym sessions, mate.
Yeah, he can tag along with me every day of the week. I'll show him how it's done.
Tag along with me.
You get a casual membership at old Dermot's, but no, look, boys, I'm going pretty well in the ruck department. I think everyone's going to cop that Gorn one, so that's pretty stock standard. And 5 playing mids, so yeah, going to lose Flanders, which is obvious, and then brought in Hutchinson and Jones, who are not going to be playing. I was fully expecting that. I kind of wanted to have that sort of balance anyway. So I think 19 is pretty good. I'm happy with 19 in this buy. I totally thought I was gonna get probably a on-field donut and field 16 or 17. So glad it hasn't really come down to that. But it revolves a lot around my trades later on, which I'll discuss. And there's a little bit of a bombshell in there, a bit of an elephant in the room that I haven't mentioned. But yeah, we'll dabble in that one later. Boys, we need to move on. I don't know what we're doing for time here, but that was good that we covered the buyers. We didn't do it last week, so always really important. Gives everyone a bit of a gauge of where we should be at. So do we have a few rookies to talk about? Is there wouldn't be many.
Maybe if we just very quickly what if we just rank these 6 on the page just very quickly, 1 through 6?
Yeah, because there's no one else.
Yeah.
Well,
what
I'll say very quickly. So we've really got 3 mids there, and we've got 3 backs. Luke Ryan, I think, is a must-have. You've got to have Luke Ryan. It's such a terrible experience not owning him. I love Jordan Clark as a pod. I'm a big fan of Jordan Clark. If I was to bring in a defender this week, it would be Clark. It's either Clark or Grundy for me, but it just suits me better going Grundy this week, getting Moyle out and all that sort of jazz. So I really like Ryan. Big fan of Clark. And with Houston, I've actually cooled off on a little bit. You know, he's Mr. Consistent, 100 plus, but he seems to have lost a little bit of that ceiling. And look, we really talked a lot about this preseason. You really wanted to own Houston for the first half of the year in particular with that nice Adelaide Oval run. I'm not writing him off at all, but in the top 1%, if I'm choosing between someone like Houston or Clark, I'm going with that pod in red hot form. In Clark, we are paying up a little bit more, but I'm a huge advocate of bringing in Jordan Clark. And for the midfielders, well, I just can't go past the Schlong. Now, I haven't looked into draw and fixture and all that sort of stuff, but he's just been so super consistent, massive ceiling as well. So I'm going with the Schlong. Butters, I think, another fantastic pick. Not sure about any tag games coming up. We will have a look at a very special slide very soon. And Torn Francis, clearly the last on the list for me. Janath, did you have any different ratings there, mate? And those 3 defenders and 3 mids?
Nah, I love it, mate. As a player, someone that started Houston but not Ryan or Clark, I think that order's really switched around. Now Ryan have won. Clark is just coming into his own. The one thing that I'll be worried about, and we'll talk about with the tags, that Clark will have the James Jordan tag in 3 weeks. So it's like if you can sort of, you got to accept it. If you bring Clark, he'll probably get tagged in 3 weeks. But I still think that he has one of the best runs to come home. I think Fremantle, they don't play Collingwood again, but they play Richmond again at Optus Stadium in a couple of weeks. And we saw what Luke Ryan did to them first time round. So it should be another very handy game. In terms of the mids, really difficult to go past Sarong, I guess. If you're looking, let's put it this way, if you're looking for security, I think, or like a safety, I think Sarong's the pick. If you want that extra ceiling, and especially I think this week against GWS at home is a really good game, I reckon, for Sack Butters to pull out a big one. And the big elephant in the room that's not in this picture is Connor Rosie. 468K, I think a break even of 197. And so next week or the week after, he's going to be right for the picking break even 182. He'll probably be floating around the 400s, 410K mark. And look, he could be the savior for this dead issue at M9 or M8. Just get Connor Rosie and a Tom Green in a constant loop, see how they go, take the 110, move on, sort of thing. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, agree with your rankings, mate.
Beautiful, mate. Spilsy, would you rank the defenders mids that we've got here on the screen any differently to Janath and I, brother?
No, I wouldn't. I'd pinpoint him exactly the same, and I won't go into it at all because I think he's both covered it extremely well. I think Houston and Clark are very. I think they're splitting hairs a little bit, but I probably would have Clark picking him off a little bit. Just like, it wouldn't be much in it, but other than that, I think 100% use of both absolutely summed up to a T. Boys, we're gonna move on. So really important, critical part of the season. So go look forward, boys. Go look forward to these tagging matchups. Who are you bringing in? Are they getting tagged? If you are bringing in someone who's getting tagged, have you got a solution for it? Is there a loophole you can run? So, Janath, do you want to talk us through exactly what's going on here? So this is obviously a list of potential tags to come throughout the second half of the season, and this is just sums Janath up to. Like what sort of personnel he is on this podcast. This is why we recruited him. Like, not only is he an unbelievable stats man, he loves a stat, no doubt about that. But the effort he puts in, just look at this output. Just I could not keep up with it. If you're working full time and try to train and do all this sort of stuff, meal prep, all that, you get back. You don't have time to do any of this. So luckily, where we be DR without our boy Janath, but. Mate, do you want to talk us through what you've done here? Because, this is some really good work.
Nah, cheers, boys. Really appreciate the kind words. It's just all the part of watching the footy, really. When you watch the footy actively and you want to help out the community, just something like this puts it all together, I guess. So basically, I'd say there are 6 main taggers, because tagging is back in vogue. It is the hot topic right now. We probably only saw Alex Chincotta, James Jordan as the taggers a couple of weeks ago, but now we've got sort of 6 of them. And they're not as effective as each other. You'd probably say James Jordan and Chincotta are probably the best of the bunch at the moment. But we saw on the weekend Jared Berry and Marcus Windhager, big threats that we need to keep an eye out for. And so just as a big disclaimer, these are my predictions as to who's going to be copping the tags. This doesn't mean that you need to agree with it. You may have a bias to say this player's not getting tagged, that player's not getting tagged. I own half these players that are listed here, so I'm not biased here. This is just my prediction as to who's probably going to cop the tag in that way. So, for instance, what I've got on the top row so Chincotta, he tags inside mids. We can see his previous victims have been Took, Sack Butters, Sack Merritt. James Jordan likes to tag outside mids, so not the ones that are getting the clearances, getting it out to teammates, but more so the ones that are transition runners and also the halfbacks, which makes sense because Bailey Dale, Ed Richards, that's probably the perfect exemplar examples of the type of players James Jordan tags. Those outside mids, the halfbacks that get the ball moving forward. Jared Berry is very similar to Chincotta, but he's different in the fact that he tags all around the ground, very similar to Marcus Windhager. So Chincotta comes up to stoppages, not at centre clearances, whereas Berry and Windhager can both play inside and tag him from the source. So that's very, very big, because if Jared Berry was tagging Sack Merritt, I don't think Sack Merritt scores 125. I think a lot of Sack Merritt's 125 on the weekend came from centre clearance possessions, centre clearance stoppages, tackles, etc. Jed McEntee from Port Adelaide's a bit different. He's more on that intercepts, and we've only seen one major tag so far this season. But it wouldn't surprise me if we paid a bit more attention this week, for instance, GWS to a Lockie Whitfield type. Someone, again, to stop the run and dash out of defense. And then you've got sort of intercept. It's very hard to predict an intercept like Harris Andrews. But if Harris Andrews goes and plays accountable on a forward, you're not going to put McEntee on him because he'll already be occupied. So it's very difficult with these intercepting types, whereas we see every team is tagging Tom Stewart at the moment. And then Liam Shields, again, I don't know how valid he is as a tagger, because personally, I don't think that he should be in the best 23, let alone taking up centre bounces from the younger midfielders, really. But Zach Merritt and Butters and Horn Francis got it in round 11. So I'm not going to go through all the tags, but if we just have a look at the colours, based on my predictions, I see Nick Dacos being tagged 4 times on the run home, including 2 times in the all-important Supercoach final. So in round 22, they play Sydney, and I can see James Jordan go into him. And in round 23, they play Brisbane. And it would make sense for Jared Berry to go up and man up on someone that gets most of their points at the source, at the centre bounces. We can see Zach Butters may cop 3 tags, including 2 in a row. So he's got the Jared Berry potential tag in round 15, a Marcus Windhager potential tag in round 16. So that's not fun. That's back-to-back right there. And then potentially Alex Chincotta again in round 20. And we know that Chincotta's already gone to Butters, so the proof is right there that it has worked. Zach Merritt may potentially cop 3 more. So Marcus Windhagen in round 20. James Jordan in round 23 is a difficult one to predict because he could go to Merritt. But again, as we said with Merritt, he can sort of shake that off and get the ball at the source. So he may go to a Nick Martin. But again, it's so hard to predict because we're talking 8 to 9 weeks down the line. Here's Nick Martin playing at halfback. He's playing at half forward. Is he in the team? Is he playing on the wing? Is he playing in the ruck? We don't know where he's going to be playing the way that he's going. So it's really difficult. And then round 24, Jared Berry against Zach Merritt. And again, that feels if Jared Berry is kept in that midfield, it's alarm bells there. One of the big things with your midfield DR to happen is that Will Ashcroft will come back in. Now, how he's immersed into that midfield will depend. So does Jared Berry go out of it? Does he only play in the midfield when there's an obvious tagging threat in there? It's very difficult. It's hard to say right now, but just something to keep in mind. And then Lachie Neale has Marcus Windhager twice. So they have the Saints twice on the run home. And that was part of the reasoning why I didn't want to go there and went Dunkley instead. But again, Lachie Neale is a champion of the game. It wouldn't surprise me that he, a lot like Zach Merritt, can fight through that tag and get to a respectable score. And for those holding Harley Reid, he's probably also got back-to-back tags. And it's very similar. And this is showing something about the trend of the AFL fixture. Right? Why has every team got Brisbane and St Kilda back-to-back? So Port Adelaide have them back-to-back. West Coast have them back-to-back. It's very interesting. So Harley Reid has Berry in round 18, Windhagen in round 19. It wouldn't surprise me if Harley Reid cops a tag every week from year on out because we'd see how important he is for that West Coast midfield. That's basically a summary of this table. You can screenshot it. It's all available in Third Man Up. I'll put the updated one out there tomorrow morning alongside with Ross. So, yeah, this is all courtesy of the work which we put in.
That's so good. I've noticed a bit of a pattern here as well. I've noticed a bit of a pattern. I own all these buggers apart from Anderson. Oh, shit. This is not happy viewing for me. You know, Butters, 1, 2, 3, Merritt, 3, Neale there.
Dacos is the one. Dacos could potentially cop a tag in 3 of the last 4 weeks.
Look, at least we all own him. And Janath, could it be the biggest pod move if you've got a couple of sneaky trades in the bank?
It could.
Cash him out.
Man. I wonder who. So a defender. So round 24, St Kilda, Carlton. It'd be interesting. Yeah, that could be a pod
round
move.
24, they play Melbourne. So is it Neil Bullen again? Does he cop 4 tags? Does he cop 4 tags in a row?
Imagine that, like Dacos gets tagged for legit the whole Supercoach finals. That could create carnage and chaos.
I'll tell you what, DR. So he's got a bit of a couple of warm-up games before then. So he's got Hawthorn, then Richmond. So he should towel them up, and then you cash him out. Just plonk
How's
him.
that? How's that? And,
Get rid of him.
this year, remember playing Hawthorn pre-season, like, oh no, he's playing Hawthorn. Now it's like, oh, it's all right, he's playing Hawthorn. There's no figure anymore. He's there. Now we wrote about bloody Chin Cotter and bloody what world are we living in here? Bugger off, B graders. C graders, stay away from the stars. Give us our point.
2017?
Oh,
legit.
Oh, this is this is not happy reading for me. But Janath, again, mate, we've already mentioned it. This is such elite stuff. You gave us the big 7 last week. You've given us the future tag options this week. And again, please, we have said this at the start. This is just our own predictions. So we're not saying lock in these tags, but all you can do is put your best predictions forward about what we think may happen. And Janath, it's really hard to disagree at this stage with anything that I see on the screen here, mate.
I think it's very accurate.
It is.
Please,
yeah.
Like you guys can come at us for saying something on the podcast, like we recommend you bring this person because of this and this. But just because I say Sack Butters is likely to get tagged 3 times, you don't bring him in. Don't come at me and say, "Oh, he didn't get tagged in these 3 games. What are you doing?" Because again,
take all the grain of salt.
May not be in the team in 4 weeks' time. So
absolutely, just potential.
Everyone's got a choice.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a choice of
so
who
it's
they
just
bring
a guide.
in.
It's a guide. You can watch out for it. I'll probably do a run through and see how this looks as the weeks are going on. And there's question marks. Well, Jack Steele, does he get Jared Berry? Does Jared Berry go to anyone? Because there's no one in that Saints midfield. You're like, they need to be
There's no
tagged.
guarantees. There's no
So
guarantees.
Very
I think
difficult. And Sydney. And like I'm going through, and every single time a team's playing Sydney, I'm like, who does Jared Berry tag? Does he tag anyone?
Yep.
Who can you tag? You can't tag Errol. If you tag Errol, Chad and Heaney are going to the moon. If you tag Heaney, the other 2 are going to the moon. It's just like, you can't tag anyone. So it's very difficult, and there's just question marks everywhere.
No, love it, mate. Elite analysis as always. Spilsy, I might take over here, mate, and get into the mailbag. Now, I don't know how many questions we've got at the moment, but shout out to everyone that has left a question for us this week. We have been trying to get through this a little bit quicker. And boys, what I reckon we try to do here, why don't we go for about half an hour and try to get through as many as possible and turbo through it. We'll do our best.
A minute a question, 26 questions.
A minute a question.
Let's charge it, boys.
We need one of those little animations, with like the countdown clock. I'm not clever enough to do that, but maybe in the future.
That's a good idea.
Why don't we look to do something like that and give ourselves like a minute a question? I like that, Spills, because that would be about 26 to 30 minutes, mate. But we will get into it. So up the top here, we have one of the biggest legends you will find on the platform, John O'Carroll, Binger, Xmas Supercoach. How are you, mate? G'day, legends. Love to you all. Thank you, mate. Can't wait to catch up with you all sometime soon. Trades I'm looking at is Dunkley and 2 mid-season rookies for Sexton, Moyle, and Rogers. So no love for the Gold Coast boys there, Jono. Really love this podcast, lads. Keep up the awesome. I'm butchering this. Keep up the awesome content coming. Much love, Binger, aka Jono. So. Look, Janath, you're obviously on the Dunkley train last week, mate, so I think that is fine. 2 mid-season rookies. Look, I don't know who we're going to get here. Do you go...
Depends.
Well, Hutchinson isn't available. Do you get the Richmond bloke, the defender, this week, maybe?
Honestly, this trade has so much potential risk involved with it because you're basically bringing in 2 walking donuts unless they both get named this week.
Yeah, see, Moyle's going to be... Well, Moyle's not going to be playing from now on.
But then again, it's not like you need to make money because you're sort of finishing your team. So
it is true, but it depends how your bench looks.
I'd look for better rookies.
Dunkley feels good.
Yeah. I like the idea of getting rid of the Gold Coast boys, but I'd find some better rookies. But if you want to go Dunkley and you can afford him, I think Dunkley is fine. So
would you prefer to go Dowling and Kruger instead, Spills?
Definitely, 100%. But then again, is that going to make him? Is he going to be short for Dunkley? It's all team dependent. If so, then maybe you can look at Errol Gordon. But if you can get done, then I think Dunkley's fine.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about this one on the members chat this week, Jono. We'll deep dive into it, mate. Get some other opinions as well. Cheers, legends. Talk about the next legend, the ladies' man, Causa Blackledge. Janath, I'm just going to send this one straight to you, mate, because it's involving one of your boys here. Hey, legends,
I can't answer this. I can't answer
LDU
it.
or Gordon Spills. I've got no idea. So
Who do you think I'm going to say?
I'm not even going to.
I've
do you
found
think
some
I'm gonna
connection
say?
with LDU. So I'm like, all right, Janath, he's got LDU. Let's just give him the hard question here. Janath, the floor is yours, my friend.
3 letters. LDU. I
Dang.
am.
Here we
This
go.
man was tagged by Dom Sheed in the weekend. I'm not sure what Dom Sheed's doing as a tag, but he willed that North Melbourne team over the line. And I'm so happy to see one of my players actually decide to go from not wanting to play to wanting to play. It's actually a very big difference to the other blokes, Tim English, in the side. But Errol Goulden, I mean, 152. One of the Swans boys was going to go big against Geelong, but I think that was the best matchup that Sydney have for a while now. Even though the matchup against Adelaide will probably be pretty good, I'd still be going to LD given the fact they play Collingwood and Marvel, depleted midfield, Melbourne at the MCG, no track, and then we know what their run home is: Geelong, Richmond, West Coast, and then Hawthorn in the last round. I think LDU.
I wouldn't elaborate too much
And
here, Janath, because it's
you're
Causa,
a Kangas man, Causa.
We know what we know. Like he's gonna pick Gordon over LDU. Come on,
His boy.
He's one of
there's
your
no
boys
way.
as well. One of your
He's
boys,
your boy,
Causa.
Causa.
Yeah,
Come on,
get him
mate.
in,
He
mate.
is, yeah.
I got Lockie
No,
Neal
yeah.
in last week, and it's a nice feeling
Have
being
some
able
fun.
to barricade for your own blokes, mate. So
That's it, mate.
all the best,
Yeah.
Causa. LDU, mate. Supercoach is live. How are you, champion? Go for 23 primos, 23rd being Curnow or Simpkin, or sideways the likes of Oliver Martin, etc., to a Goulden or Houston, please, gents. So I suppose the premise of the question is, does Supercoach for Life go for that 23rd premium, or try to ensure that his 22 on-field are premium quality, like those Ubers, the best of the best, as a general question? Now, Spilsy, I gave the last one to Janath, so we'll go straight down to you, mate. Are you an advocate, Spilsy, of going for that 23rd premium, mate, or just going, no, do you know what? I'm getting Gucci on field. We're not shopping at Best and Less here or even Kmart for that Oliver Green type. We're just going to upgrade them and make sure we've got the best on field. Do you sort of swing one way or the other when it comes to that question, mate?
Mate, Oliver's output, he's gone from Asics to bloody Kmart sneakers in a matter of a year. Hey,
hey,
oh, am I wrong? Like
Kmart sneakers are good, man. They got me through primary school and secondary school.
Yeah, don't knock Kmart steals. Come on, mate. Drive by the poor old Kmart.
Maybe get a sponsorship on the podcast for some Kmart sneakers or something.
Not after that, Spills. Bloody hell. We've tried to save it, mate, but you've screwed us there for that Kmart sponsorship, mate. Let me tell you. We're not recovering from that, mate.
Look, let's not get bogged down about whether Kmart shoes are any good or not.
Let's have a minute of question. Come on, good man.
Got a question to answer here. So look, I think 23 premiums, but like how many of those are fake premiums? I'd probably, if you can get Oliver, someone that you know is going to be a real like top 6 to sort of top 8, I'd probably rather go Oliver to Goulden if I had to real rapid fire answer it, just instinctively. I'm getting rid of Oliver this week. I've had enough of him, and I just don't think he's anywhere near top 10, let alone top 30. So he's going to lose money. He's got to buy. I mean, there's no reason to hold Oliver, like whether he's not premium anymore. So very simple for me.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I'll just play maybe not a devil's advocate, but just another way that you look at it. If you do get that 23rd premium, like we know with Oliver, like we brought him in a month ago for a reason, the fact that we thought, look, if things go right, and we're not expecting him to get back to his best, and Oliver's just one example here, mind you, but we got him for a reason. We thought, look, there's the potential that he could give us, say, a 110, 115 average. If you do get that 23rd premium, and we talked about someone like a Rosie before, who's also got a good ceiling on his day, you could also loop those two to get the best score. And if you do get that 23rd as well, if one of your blokes does go down with injury, then you can get that guy on field as well. So I don't necessarily disagree with this, Spills, because you want the best quality on field, definitely, mate. But that may be just another way to look at it when you are comparing the two. But a good point that you did raise, Spills, is who are you considering as a premium? You know, are you running your Merritts, your Bonts, your Sarong types, or are you filled with your Walshes, Tom Greens and Oliver's like we've talked about, mate? So it's a tough question to answer without actually seeing the team, I think, mate. So I'm very much with you on many things there, Spills. Janath, can you maybe bookmark an answer here for us, mate, or give us your opinion on it?
Yeah, it is a really tough one. I'm looking at bringing Kerno next week as a 22nd premium just for then. And then wait and see how the forward line sort of looks. But look, I think if you're looking at sideways, it's really interesting because last week Oliver to Goulden we were saying is too sideways for our liking. But this week we've seen that Goulden's score. We're chasing the score. I think we may be.
Yeah.
So I think, but he's got the bye. I prefer to move on Martin more just because his role is so inconsistent right now. If you can get him up to, I don't know if Houston is the one, but if you can get him up to Jordan Clark, that's something that I'd definitely be doing because the output from Clark should be much better than Martin from here until the end of the season.
Yep, like it, mate. Hopefully that is a little bit of help for you anyway, buddy. All the best of luck. But it was a really good question because I think many people will be asking that, particularly as we start to finish our sides as well.
We'll cover that.
Here's our man. Yeah. Here's our man, Jules, the crazy frog himself, member of the Swordplay podcast family as well with that beanie you bought. Looks great on you, Jules, too. What Brisbane superstar should I bring in this week to finish my team? Neil, Dunkley,
Zorko.
or Zorko. All high break even.
Zorko.
But tag incoming. Spills is just shouting Zorko from the absolute.
He's got St Kilda. And everyone's got. He's a lock in the forward line, like your point last week, DR. I mean, Zorko must have surely high break even, but
it is the biggest.
You're going to lose 20k.
It's the biggest pod move to fade him this week and bank on a low score against St Kilda and get him for 550 in 2 weeks.
Not happening.
Like that's
not
happening. The other reality, mate.
I know. Do you know what?
I think the points on field are more important than the little money that he might. I think he probably drops 15 or 20k.
That is
just
true.
on what projected score I'm expecting.
Yeah.
I think Zorko's points on field is better than the money he's going to lose. So
I don't think it's not the week to get Lockie Neal, as we said.
It's not my point, Janath. It's this is actually JD's. JD mentioned this in his round review, so I've got to give a shout out to him. Words of wisdom, all. All
right, Janath, your take
on Zorko. So
yeah, look, I can't disagree. I'd say the value isn't there, but the points on field this week may make the value offset. And if you're not tight for money, Jules, I think the play is Zorko this week. I wouldn't be bringing in Neil this week as much as it hurts me to say, just based on you boys, obviously, having him. It's just the tag. It just feels like it makes the most sense, right? Like it's not me as a non-owner. Yeah, if you're St Kilda, you're probably tagging Lockie Neal.
Yeah, and I think that Dane Zorko this week may be my cheeky VC. I think playing early on the week,
he might be
giving him a run, but I'll be listening to the expert when he takes us through the captain's corner a little bit later on. But thanks for that, Jules. All the best, mate. Next one is from the Angry Chihuahua. Hey, legend. Hey, guys. Hope you're doing well. Thoughts on Oliver and Comben to Goulden and Dowling? I'll hold this round and trade next week. Oliver and Comben worth holding. Well, Spillsy's sick of him. He's saying, see you later, Clary. With Comben, I think the break-even's probably that high at the moment that you're risking a bit of a Darcy Wilson type operation unless you trade him out next week. Oh, look, I think it's fine. Janath, what do you think about that one there, mate? Oliver and Comben to Goulden and Dowling. We did also talk about potential point chasing here, though, but with Goulden getting the extra game on Goulden.
It's a tough one.
Do you think it's worth it?
I think one point that I'd like to just bring up with regards to defenders against Collingwood. So we saw with Melbourne as well, Trent Rivers, 111, Salem, 111, Stephen May, 96. So you got 3 defenders right there that went above 95 basically against Collingwood. I think if you're looking for a matchup and you need Comben to make 18, it's not the worst matchup to hold him. Yes, he'll probably lose money. He's probably not going to get to that 93 break even. But for instance, if you were comparing the Darcy Wilson matchup against Gold Coast last week and the Comben matchup against Collingwood this week, it's something that I'd be more comfortable holding with. But I saw the logic there, DR, with you. You were looking for those points on field, and that's something which I think is very similar. You can empathize with Angry Chihuahua here, that Comben holding him, the points are probably there. The points are probably there, but there still is the risk that he can lose cash. He gets injured early. Just one of those ones, mates. You just have to see how you're looking. If you're looking at 19, probably trade him. If Comben's your 18th, you can probably hold him as well.
Yeah, and I think that's my bias very quickly coming into that as well. Probably holding Wilson last week and getting burnt by that. And then I get a question like this. I sort of think back to what happened to me just last week.
It hurts, yeah.
So that may be a little bias there. Spills, anything you quickly want to add to the discussion on this one, buddy?
Well, great point from Janath, but I'm a simple man, mate. I can go through with it. Gordon, clearly very low break even.
Yep.
Look great price. Common, he's been a good rookie, and Oliver's been the worst player in any midfield this year. So get rid of
big rocket to Clary, mate.
Have you seen him play? Have you seen
Tom Green play?
Yeah, but look at Oliver's skin folds, mate. He's second at every single contest. At least Green's getting the ball. He's just butchering it. Oliver, he needs a preseason. I'm telling you.
He's got rid of him and just bang, bang, bang. See you later, Clary. Poor old Clary.
Hope you're watching, Clary. Get yourself fit, and we'll pick you next year maybe if you're fit and firing. But at the moment, he's just nowhere near it. Couldn't be any more harsh on Clayton Oliver, but he's frustrating to watch, I'll tell you.
So Spills, what you're saying is that for Clary, it's not, if you're not with me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. You only want him at his best.
I just want the old Oliver back.
Exactly.
I just want last year's Oliver. That's all I want.
Yeah.
But he had to have too much fun. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that.
Before you go too far, my friend. All right, we're getting on to Tally Baby here, another legend and a member of my channel. How are you, buddy? I just have the cash to have a third trade of Walsh or Steele to Goulden, but that would only leave me 3 trades after a finished team. Seems like too much for a luxury trade, probably, unless Goulden will average 10 plus points more than Steele or Walsh over the last 10 games. What do you think? I'm not confident enough on that myself. Look, I'm probably going to say no here. I'd rather, look, I think you want probably 4 minimum after you've finished your completed team. Boys, any difference to that opinion? Spills, would you go through with it, mate?
I agree with you, man.
Three's not enough?
I think I'm going to be pushing it myself, so it could be hypocritical, but I think 3 is pretty stock standard. I think 2 is probably the minimum. You want to have that. You want to have that one trade for any like long-term injury, any 4-week plus, like that you don't touch all year. Maybe that 2 or 3 for a luxury, or that second last one being a 23rd primo or whatever. But I think that's sort of around the mark, to be honest. Janath?
I reckon you want 4. You want 3 for every round, and then 1 for the final round. That's the ideal, because you want to be able to make that. So 3. So after the buyers, there's 10 rounds left, I think, or 9. So you want 3 for 1 every 3 rounds, and then a security 1 for that final round if you want to make a matchup-based adjustment. I wouldn't make the trade, but I'm really interested very quickly, boys. Errol Goulden is such a fascination to me because I have no idea where he's going to finish this season ranked as a midfielder, because he could just as well be the M5 as he could be the M13 or the M12. Like, there's such a wide range of Goulden compared to like a Sack Merritt that I feel like is probably in that M3 to M6 range, anywhere between there. It's much tighter than a Goulden is. Where do you boys rank Goulden from here on out?
I'm exactly the same as you. I can't place him at the moment. Like before last week, I must admit, and so it might be recently biased, I didn't have him really close to the top 10. I thought there were many, many ahead of him, but I suppose it's just a reminder last week about the guy's potential, about his ceiling.
You're always going to get a spike game from him. Always. It's unpredictable, though. Like, you can't bank on that because there's going to be inconsistencies with Goulden.
Yeah.
Technically, it was tagged by Blitzarves, but Blitzarves just wasn't right. Like, he looked like he lost a step to the new bull, Errol Goulden. Yeah.
It's funny. I could see us at the end of the season looking back at this point, and if we jump on Errol going, why did we why did we do that? You know, it was really, really silly. We had so many other options. Or why didn't we go there? He presented so much value. It was such an obvious pick. Sydney are flying, all the rest. So, yeah, very, very tough one, I think, there. But, yeah, probably we're saying that if you can, mate, try to have 4 after that completed side. Just a fan. Hey, buddy. When you asked Bevo to stop ruining our Supercoach teams, did Bevo give you any indication as to why McRae isn't starting in the guts? Gave me donuts, mate. Just walked on his merry way. Just didn't want to face me. I think he might have been a little bit intimidated there, buddy.
Gee, sour, aren't he? So sour. Bitter as vinegar. Luke Beveridge. Unbelievable.
In the comments, they were saying he looks like he's constipated.
Yeah, I saw that, mate. That was one of the kinder comments that I received in that one. I think that, boys, on a serious note, any thoughts on Jai Simpkin? This one was a real surprise to me. I'll be looking into his numbers in the stocky, but Janath, fake primo written all over this man, or not even primo? Is it a trap? Do you have any?
Seems to only play good when North are like playing well. Like when they're competitive North, that's when he sort of plays well, which is not often at all.
He hadn't gone above 70,
and he was a big part of it.
He hadn't gone above 70, and he had a 60 point last quarter because he kicked a goal.
Clutch goal.
Big goal in the ball.
Yeah.
He might have kicked 2 actually in the last quarter. I can't exactly
Yeah, I think
remember.
he did. I reckon he did. I'm a huge no. Just straight off the bat.
No as well. 360. It's not like he's 200K or something. Like you're paying 360K in the upgrade season. Probably
I'll give you a bit of a, I suppose, a sneak peek as to the stock market. Just a fan. I've got the trap symbol on him this week already, mate. So I'm not a fan of Simpkin whatsoever. But hey, if you go there, I hope I'm wrong, mate. All the best luck, buddy. Our next one is T-Mac. Hey, T-Mac. What are some good pot options on each line, like under 5%? Mate, look, just off the top of my head, I can't even tell you what ownership's
You probably got McGovern in defence.
Clark, 5.2%.
Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Clark,
okay. Look, I'll certainly cover a heap of
Law
options
in the midfield.
If you're saying Clark is at 5.2%,
Cherry in the ruck.
I'll say that Clark is the best pot option this week that I like. If he's at 5.2.
Are you willing to take the risk on Rankin if he's back this week? Possible James Jordan tag, but he's 50 break, 57 break even.
Wasn't a big reason why we were getting him and why you got him, Janath, because of the fixture that's just gone, that short-term fixture?
Yeah, but he looked that good against Collingwood that I think he's a top 6 forward from here on out.
I think fair enough. Yeah.
That was
the one to drop a bit.
Midfield. That was a Collingwood midfield. He's not going to drop those fields. He's got a 50 break even, 57 break even. So he's got this week. I reckon we'll all be looking at him before the GWS matchup straight after their bye.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the one.
It's hard to disagree with, but T-Mac, we'll have some better options in the stocky as well, buddy. Thank you very much for that, mate.
Thank you, mate.
He's an absolute legend and a bagger like you, Janath, the Rain Man.
Oh, man.
Gents,
Rain Man.
Thank you for the amazing content across the year. I appreciate your love and support, buddy. Last primo for me. I'm showing off a little bit now, mate. I take that back. Ryan versus Zork. Fish the switch. I hate paying over 600K, but Ryan is so good with some O's. I'll add some extra O's on top of that one, mate. But
Close to 700, to be honest. And 600. It's gone off his head.
Where are we going? Like, seriously, we're not advocating Zorko over Luke Ryan, are we? Regardless of the fixture.
No, that's got danger written all over it.
I think Ryan is an absolute uber must-have this year. Like, Rain Man, it would have been such a tough non-own, mate. Just do yourself a favour, just for your own mental well-being when it comes to Supercoach.
If this is a good thing or not. He's about to complete his side, but he doesn't have Ryan or Zorko. So where is he at? Like, I'm actually
He's doing well. He's doing well. I'll tell you that.
Really, that would be the hardest watch, man. Like Freo games. Yeah. Zorko, I guess you can get away with a bit, but Luke Ryan, man, far out.
Luke Ryan hasn't dropped below his starting price. Can you believe it? He started 612K. The lowest he's been all year is 628K after that.
That's unreal. Like, Spills and I watched him together the other week. Remember that,
Yeah.
Spills? And we're just like,
This
here
Yeah,
we
we were
go.
laughing.
Like,
We were
he was
laughing.
legitimately not in the screen, right? And Spills and I are going, right, he's there, bang, he's there.
They're gonna kick it back to. They're gonna kick it back to him 100%, and they did.
Oh,
He's a sick man. And that's
Luke
when
Ryan, it
Spills
is,
and I,
mate.
yeah, and that's when Spills and I started saying as well,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great, that combo, that Jordan Clark, Luke, it would be the
Oh,
sickest
dude.
combo to own in the competition. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
need to move on. But, yeah, we're probably going Rhino there, mate, the Peroxide King. CR7, hey, buddy. Hey, boys. I'm just short of getting Grundy this week. I'm thinking to bring in Sherry. Sorry, do you think he can average 105 plus for the rest of the year? Now, this is interesting because, Janath, we talked about that potential ruck schedule for him, and it wasn't looking fantastic. Have you changed your tune at all after last week with the new tackle rule coming into play? Do you think he can average 105 plus from here, mate? Is there a word where you see that?
Yeah, I can see. I was as a just for North, the fact is this is not Supercoach, but the rundown that he had on Liam Ryan was one of the most inspirational efforts I've seen from just a player
that
all
was very
season.
good.
That was brilliant. But yeah, Tristan Cherry, I'd rather own Cherry than English right now. He probably brings more fun, and he's probably got more. He's probably more consistent than Tim English is. Probably doesn't have the exact same ceiling, but he scored 130 on the weekend. You'd take that. Yeah, I reckon he can average 105. But also, if you can just find the money, even if it's a trade.
Find the money. Yeah, I was going to say that.
Trade,
yeah.
Get Grundy because he's probably the R2 right now, and he solidified it on the weekend.
All right. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, if you can get Grundy, geez, it would be nice, mate.
Good.
Next one's from Danny. G'day, Danny. I bought in LDU last week. Who was your thoughts on good value dollar midfielder this week? Doesn't bother me about the buy either this week or next. Plus, don't really want to pay over 600K. Are you still advocating LDU, Janath, at under that 600K mark with his upcoming run?
He's got LDU.
He's got LDU,
so
Oh, sorry, good LDU.
Yeah. So I'd say Dunkley now. Dunkley or Goulden, one of the two.
Dunkley or Goulden? Yeah.
Or wait next week for Elliot Yo.
I would say Will Day is also another one. 571K. He's put back to back tons now. Will Day is definitely one with that fixture in the finals. Richmond this week, West Coast next week, then Richmond, North Melbourne in the last two. Oh man, this man.
Yeah,
he could be a real point of difference. And we were talking about pods before. I think he is owned by 1% of teams. This is a real pod.
Wow.
Yeah, look, I'm just looking quickly to my stocky notes here. 26 touches, almost half contested, 10 tackles, which was an equal game high. Only major fault here was a 4 freeze away, possibly his lack of meters gained. But the notes here are very positive. Very, very positive. Yeah. Like few durability concerns here. But yeah, look, could be
a value mid.
That's a good call.
He's a value mid. This week is a possible VCC option as well, mate. So, Danny, I think we found the one for you, mate. If the buyers don't bother you, Will Day is the one, I reckon.
Absolutely. Next one here is from Andrew Racek. You corrected me last week, mate, very kindly with the pronunciation. So hopefully I didn't butcher that for the first time this year, Andy. Great to hear from you, mate. One of our best supporters of the potty. G'day, legends. With forward options so scarce this year, is Harley Reid a potential keeper? Bit more to it, but that's the major question here. Oh, look, fellas, I've been yes, no.
I'm going to say no.
Would you have him in the same camp as maybe an Alex Sexton with confidence levels?
No, I'd have Reid higher. The thing is, Sexton is so interesting
now.
He gets tagged, but Sexton is so interesting because for so long I'm thinking, okay, Will Powell and Sexton can coexist. But now I'm thinking, well, one of Jeffrey or Sexton's going to get dropped for Will Powell. Because you can't drop Euland. Now, if you drop Jeffrey, it's almost like Sexton. What is Sexton's real output? So it's so tough in that sense, isn't it?
I think Sexton's in big trouble, Janath, when Powell comes back. Yeah. I think he's in real hot water. It's
really hard to say because there's so much ball in that backline, but someone's got to go out, right?
Oh, seriously?
It's just the odd, it's just the
where do you rank Sexton?
It's always going to happen
year on year with Will Powell back.
Oh, so it's the unknown with Will Powell, isn't it? Yeah. It's just the unknown.
We'll take all.
Look, do you know what? Realistically, you probably do have to go with Reed, don't you? Because you know what his role is going to be. Clearly best 22. No chance of getting dropped. Look, you probably do have to go Reed. Yeah.
Even with the buys, even with the tags, that's why I think Reed above Sexton. But if Sexton holds with power and plays well, because it's one of the concerns I have with Sexton, I only bring this up. He was the 345th ranked footballer across AFL play ratings on the weekend.
Yeah, so, 130 Dream Team compared to his Supercoach score. It's a big difference. And that's always an indicator.
It's good for Supercoach, but we're blinded by Supercoach. We're not actually wondering how well they're playing. We've seen Dimmer pull the triggers. That's my only concern with Sexton. Otherwise, I think you'll be okay with Powell in. But just that job security in the short term, he's just got to survive this Will Powell in, I think.
Yep, agreed, mate. Next one's from another legend, the Shadow Minister. How are you, mate? We've all got our share of underperforming mids. We'd trade if we could. Hello, Tom Green. Janet's already spoken about him a few times as well. We'll also have to trade Petraka now. Should I offload Rosie, who will lose a lot of cash, or just live with him? I'm saying straight out, I'll just hold Rosie because I think many people are going to be jumping on. I think you just got to, you've copped enough, mate. If you've held Rosie this long, then you've got to hold him for now, I think, mate. If you've held him for this long, I think it would not make a heap of sense to move him on this week. Boys, you any different there? We both holding Rosie?
Yeah.
Yep.
We come this far. And like, if you're going to trade, who are you trading to? Because he's almost bottomed out. Same with Tom Green.
That's a great point, Skills.
You're basically having to upgrade.
To get up.
It's like Oliver as well. Same. It's very annoying that it's like you have to upgrade Oliver, like go down to go up. It is frustrating, but there's no.
At least your boys got some 130s out of Tom Green.
Yeah, well, that's true. I remember my grand plan: get those big scores and trade him out before the buy. Man. But anyway, we won't go there. Braids, away, mate. Hey, lads. Hope you're going well. I've got the 10 trades this week with my only upgrade left being Sexton.
That's great.
That's
bugger off, Braid.
I'm such a good spot.
Grasping at straws trying to keep him at F6, mate, with 2 upgrades to go, mate. Buggy you, Braids. Not answering your question. Wondering how many Primos are most fielding this week. All over the shop, mate, but we've already gone through how many we're fielding. Also, thoughts on Martin to Clark. I know if Martin's able to get a target, he'll be good.
In his situation,
you have the trades. You have the trades.
If you can do it, which you can, if I had an extra like 3 or 4 trades, I'd love to get Martin up to Clark because the Dons, man, his role's all over the place. I mean,
that's great.
He's due for a 70, Nick Martin.
What a luxury to be able to do that. That's that's massive.
Love it for you, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Next one is from Telly again. Hey, legends. Green and Martin are overpriced. Rookies bleeding cash.
Martin.
I'll tell you what. Now, can I just stop you for 1 sec? Nick, if you're watching, mate, I love you. Don't listen to Janath, Spills, and Tally. I love you, Nick.
Oh, do you, DR?
I love you, mate.
Obviously,
too much. Like you're like a brother, Nick. We do love you, but sometimes we hate you and just want to bash you up. What else we got? He's trading out for Day and Ed Richards. So how's that for some pod moves? Green and Martin for Day and Ed Richards would leave 4 trades left after finish team next week. Richards at D6, Rao M8, Cameron at F6, but only Graham and Fraser. Too risky? Or
I reckon it's Jezza.
Oh.
Nah, Jezza.
I reckon it's Jezza. Right? Yeah.
Cameron.
Look, the bench cover there, Graham and Fraser is perfect. I think that's very solid. They should hold. Graham is probably the speculative one, not so certain, but Fraser looks a player.
Yep.
Would you almost want to get in a better forward than Jeremy Cameron instead of Ed Richards? What's the play there? Because
depends what his other forward line's like. Like if you've got your Heaney, Flanders, Zorko types, Fisher even, I think that it's okay because I think you throw a blanket on a few of these players. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but I'm okay with it anyway. All the best, Tally. Cheers, buddy. Next one is from the biggest legend around here. Kata, how are you, mate? Hey, DR, Skills, and Janath. As we get close to full premium teams, I'd like to thank you 3 for your weekly advice and razor-sharp knowledge you share with the whole community. Keep up the great work. Cheers, Kata. So it wasn't even a question this week. just a bit
He's
of love
such a
from
legend.
Kata. And
He's a
Kata,
great bloke. Good on you,
I've
mate.
mentioned this a few times, boys, and no offense to you two lads, but I've known Kata for my whole time playing Supercoach, which I reckon is close to 20 odd years now. So yeah, one of my longest mates when it comes to the Supercoach scene, one of the best blokes you'll meet as well. Thanks for your support, Kata. Much love to you, buddy, and hope your son's doing well.
That's it, Kata. Can you imagine Spills and I in a little cot playing Supercoach whilst you two are doing your Supercoach stuff?
It would have been too. You young fellas around playing a bit of duck.
He's not that much older than us, Janath. Come on. That's a bit stiff.
Steve's been saying that
You
he's
guys were
playing Supercoach
critical
for
on
years.
my drive-bys earlier on the podcast. Janath goes bang.
Steels, we would have been 4.
He's only. He's only.
Skills and Janath doing the finger painting down there at Kinder. Well, Kata and I got our old school notepads out, doing the research, crunching
Got
the
the C on
numbers
Gary Ablett.
Gary Ablett Senior.
Okay.
Well, I thought you were going to go as far back
now
as
it's
bloody
an
Dick Reynolds or
unnecessary
someone there,
drive-by.
mate. But, you know, not too bad. Yeah, I didn't take too much offense to that, mate. But, yeah, much love to you, Kata. All the best for you, legend. Next one is from Shah. I'm in a couple of leagues with Shah. Another great man here. How are you, buddy?
Yep.
Hi, DR. Hey, and Shah hasn't even worried about you two. It's just hi, DR. So bug you, Janath. Bug you.
I'll tell you what,
Shah,
Janath and his drive-bys doesn't give him very often, but when he does, whack.
They're solid. They're solid, aren't they? Yeah.
That's what makes this potty. It's so good.
Low runs,
Exactly
high
right.
strike rate.
Exactly right, boys.
Low runs, high strike rate.
Shah's only asking me.
Sorry, DR. Keep going.
Well,
You're all right.
that's right. That's all right, mate. Well, Shah's only asking me, so I'm not even going to ask you, boys.
Yeah,
Go Clark every day of the week, plus twice on Sundays, buddy. All the best, Shah. Hope you well, mate. Next one is from Rob Cockerell. G'day, Robbie. Hey, legends. How many trades is okay to have left if we get a 23rd primo on a sideways Oliver this week? I won't go through the rest of that. The question is how many trades for a 23rd primo? Janath, what do you reckon, mate? What are you comfortable with? 3?
3.
Spills?
3.
Oh, I'd say 3's ideal, but I think 2 is also fine.
Depends who your 23rd primo is as well. If it's
that is true.
Dylan Moore forward midfield, 2 could even be fine because he
if
covers
you got
2
DPP,
lines.
yeah, if you got DPP in every line, like what I'm trying to do, I think you can get away with lower trades. Where if you don't, I think you definitely want to bank 3 trades. So very
a Rosie type, for instance, he's only midfield, but he does have that high ceiling. So it's a trade-off between the DPP, the quality of your 23rd primo, in equaling how many trades you should have left.
Like it. Like it. All right. Estang21. Hey, buddy. Hey, legends. What are your thoughts on Jai Simpkin as a cheap downgrade option? We've already talked about that, mate. We all think he's an absolute trap. Sorry, mate. If you want to go there, back your gut, though, buddy. Hope it works out. If you do. Here's our man, Ian. Just Ian. That's why I love it. E, would you prefer to keep Sexton over 5 for the swing cover? This is a great question because I'm asking myself the same question. If you get Rosie to loop with Oliver and Green at M8, other option is Rankin and Curnow. Love all your work. Oh, look, you got to go Rankin and Curnow, don't you? What do you reckon?
Probably.
All right, let's just backtrack a little bit. Boys, Sexton or Fife? I wish you could ask me when Power comes back. It's so hard to ask now.
I'm going to say 5. I'm going to say 5, boys.
Keeping 5?
You reckon?
If I had to pick,
you reckon 5? The week off really helps him. You'd think, right?
I actually think Sexton gets dropped, boys. Like as we said, they can't have Joel Jeffrey and Sexton and Powell. Powell takes 2. And even if it is, like, even if Jeffrey is one that gets dropped, like Powell's going to be the one that gets all the kickouts. Hasn't always will be. So,
no, Flanders is so that the 7-man defense they've got Hewlin, Flanders, Collins.
It still doesn't help
Ballard,
Sexton though.
Sexton,
doesn't
Jeffrey,
help him. Doesn't help Sexton.
Hell. None of those guys getting dropped apart from Sexton or Jeffrey, are they really?
I think it's Jeffrey. It's really hard. Who gets dropped out of those 2?
Someone's got to go.
They both had 29 touches on the weekend. 10 marks. It's bad.
This would be so bad if Sexton gets. Oh, look, I suppose.
I think it'd be Sexton. Jeffrey's got a bit of flair, I reckon. Bit more.
Bit of flair.
Bit of flair off halfback.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I think Sexton's in trouble. That's just my instinctive gut feel. But
Do you
anyway,
own Sexton
watch
still?
this space. Yeah, I do. Annoyingly,
Okay.
but it's just pure gut feel what I think is going to happen when Powell comes back.
No,
I just think
it's
I just think Sexton implodes.
Maybe Powell doesn't even. Maybe they don't bring in Powell. Who knows? It's dimmer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's just too
All right.
true.
All the best luck anyway, buddy. Next one is from Frogger. G'day, fellas. Would you prefer Heaney and Simpkin or Curnow and Caldwell? Basically, Simpkin F7 with Heaney on field.
Oh, Heaney definitely, I'd say.
I go
Oh,
Heaney
hang on.
someone else.
Simpkin F7.
F7, yeah,
for
sure.
Heaney every day of the week. Yep, Heaney every day of the week, buddy.
Yep.
All right, next one is from Johnny Boy. G'day, Johnny. Another member of the channel. Great man is John. What's better for a finished team? 2 on-field rookies at M8 and F6 with 7 trades left, or no rookies on field, 3 trades left? No rookies, mate. No rookies.
Get rid of them.
Yeah, get rid of your rookies, mate. We're all very, very strong on that, are we, boys?
Very quickly. It depends who the M8 and F6 is, because if the F6 is Harley Reid, then you could probably hold off the upgrade. If the M8 is Lockie Sullivan, then you probably need the upgrade. So I think if there's more detail here, probably helps. But yeah, definitely anyone would say no rookies on field, but it depends who the rookie is, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a good point. Send us through your trade, Johnny, and we'll be able to help you a little bit more there, mate. Tell you again, we are getting very much towards the end, guys. We'll turbo through now. If I'm not too late, Zach Williams gets DPP after round 18. Defensive forward.
You probably want him gone by then anyway, surely. Like, do you want to cash him out? I don't know. I haven't.
He's been much better as a forward than in defense. I'll say that.
I know he has, but wouldn't you want sort of finishing your side?
There's a chance, but I'd probably even move him on this week, mate, if you're looking to upgrade your side. But we'll try to keep you informed, mate, and keep you updated when we get a little bit more info about that one, buddy. Next one is from Nakos, 4 p.m. Hey, buddy, how are you, mate? Hey, gents, long-time listener, first-time caller. Thank you very much, mate. Great to hear from you, buddy.
Welcome to the mailbag, mate. Good to have you.
Absolutely, Nico. Thoughts on bringing in fish this week? Missed out last week as I bought in the shees instead. Very interesting. Nice work, though, mate. If not, who do you think are the top 2 upgrade targets this week? I've got Port and Freo plays already. Stay frosty, lads. Good on you, Nakos.
I think Fisher's top 6.
So. I'm fine with Fisher. Are you guys both fine with Fisher? Yeah, absolutely go for it, mate.
It's just a week to get him. He's only going to get more expensive, and he's clear top 6 now.
Bringing the fish snakes and again, thanks for your always support, buddy. Appreciate it, mate. Next one is from Watermelon Cruiser. I love that name as well. Hey, buddy. Tossing up how many upgrades to do this week? 1, Closey, Moyle, Clary. 2, Ryan, Errol, and Dowling. Isn't that nice? Those trades plus Sexton to Sarong get gone in 3 trades. Both options leave me with 5 Mackay, F6.
Dake, Gorn, and Sarong next week. Jeez.
Wow.
So he's going to get Luke Ryan, Errol, Sarong, and Gorn in 2 weeks. That's like a pipe dream.
Make it happen.
If you can do that, mate.
Dream big and
absolutely.
Yeah.
We're all aboard this, aren't we, boys?
Yeah,
obviously.
I won't even elaborate. I think that's fine.
Yeah, love it.
And I think the old Watermelon needs a wanted sign because he's robbed a bank somewhere to get this cat. I don't know how you're doing it, mate. But what you've done for that money, I'm not even going to ask questions, my friend. We'll just let that one go to the
hacked into Supercoach headquarters.
Exactly right. Oh, mate. I'm losing my voice now. All right, almost there, boys. Chook H. G'day, Chooky. Hey, boys. Hope you're going well. Cheers, mate. Have a question for Janath, especially. Well, all right then, Chook. No offense, mate.
I might go, mate. I might go put the kettle on, boys. Janath, you go.
Yeah, go on, Spills. Let's have a break, mate. Well, Janath, just for you, mate. Well, Spills and I have a coffee and a Kit Kat. He's got both Cripps and Walsh. With the easier run coming up, would you hold both or trade one of them to LDU this week or Zerritt next week? Interested in your thoughts?
Is it hard to say, but I don't mind trading Paddy Cripps because I think that we may see him get a rest at some point to finish the season. And he's shouldered a big load. We're in second. We should get into a pretty finals position. Not sure where that will end up, but I think hold Walsh. He should come good. Easier run. We saw how he came out really strong against in the first couple of games that he played against Adelaide and GWS. LDU this week, Serret next week. I'd say Serret just. I just saw the way that he broke the tag against Chincotta, not broke it. He didn't have an impact on the game necessarily, but Supercoach 125. If he had an impact on that game, he would have scored 150. That kind of play you just need to have in your team. So I think Cripps to Serret, even though it doesn't make sense because you're trading someone off their buy for someone off their buy, may just be worth in the end, Chook. That's the way I'd be going. But if you're looking for someone this week, Cripps to LDU is also fine given the run that North have coming up.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, mate. Brownlow Bont, how long do you think Kruger stays in for the Pies? Every dollar counts. Do you think he's worth the extra 20K for potential cover at F3 over a basement rookie? That's a really good question. You guys got any idea how long
next week? It's just
Coxie's out for?
Probably.
Coxie's out for 4 to 6.
Then, yes, I'm saying yes then to that because I think
3 to 5 weeks in the team. 3 to 5 weeks in the team. Yeah.
All right. I'm going yes then.
Yeah. He'll be someone we want to bring in round 16. It's a good subplot that we brought up here, DR, because I think this whole time I was thinking Billy Dowling as the rookie I want to bring in after the bye. But because now Kruger sort of popped up as well, you're almost like, okay, if we want to bring in both, we probably have to go one this week and one in round 16. If that makes sense. Because if you want both, you're not going to do a double downgrade, or most people don't have a boost to bring in both in round 16. So you bring one in this week. You've got Dowling against Sydney at Adelaide Oval. You've got Kruger against North at Marvel. Is it almost like Kruger's the more injury-prone one, but do you go Kruger for that high-ceiling game as a forward, perhaps? That's a real subplot.
I actually thought Kruger probably scored more than he did. Listening to on the radio, it's almost like he dominated. And I thought he'd be more than a 76 or whatever. So
that's such a good point you raised, man. I hadn't
considered that. I thought he was better than what his output was, to be honest.
It's a tough one.
Like scoring, Supercoach scoring.
Yeah, of course.
Wait on him. I need another look at him.
He was playing.
I want to watch him play. Yeah, I want to watch him play around 15, and then maybe you can be my last sort of downgrade.
As an answer, though,
wait and see.
I'm going yes to that question. Definitely worth paying.
Yes. 22K. Yeah. Big yes. Yep.
Almost at the end here, boys. Luca, another question which is linked to my trade plans. Would you like to prefer being full primo with 5 injury trades or 2023? Sorry, already discussed that one, Luca. Cheers, buddy. Stevie Price, great word, lads. Will Grundy be R2 from here on out, or are we being baited by a few good SCG scores? Here's
R2.
my current R2. Boys, both share this same opinion there? Yep.
He'll be
Stevie.
on the run home.
All right, and we've got Luca's one, and that's it. 3 more. So we'll do these 3 and then quickly go to Luca. J Rules 3434. Hey, buddy, do I get Zorko or Grundy this week? I'll have 200K to get the other next week.
Oh, you've robbed a bank, mate.
You know what? Zorko's
Who's the better vice captain option, DR? I think that's what it comes down to, because I reckon whoever you bring in out of these 2 is the one you're going to put the VC on.
I like Zorko. This week.
We'll get to our captaincy corner and we'll dissect all this. But
how about this week though? Who are you guys bringing in this week?
I have Zorko ahead of Grundy, but long term I'd rather Grundy. Oh, that's hard. Zorko's the forward.
No, I agree. I'd probably agree with that because Zorko's got a great matchup. But Grundy's going to make more.
Grundy's got a great matchup against Strachan. We saw what Nankervis did to Strachan.
And Grundy's going to be 600K as well. He's going to go up another 25K for sure.
I reckon it could be just a 1 week whack for Rob in the Rezzies and then bring the man back.
Do you reckon? So we wait for teams then, maybe. So if Strachan's name, do you go Grundy? If Rob's name, you go Zorko?
I couldn't answer it straight off the bat. It's too.
It's not like Strachan's a 21-year-old. He's 28. He's the same age as Rob. It's not like they're bringing in the young, inexperienced rapper and give him a go like Conway and Stanley.
I reckon there's a chance that he may even get subbed if he does play. Kieran.
Okay.
So do you know what? Maybe Grundy. I've just switched late, but look, either way,
it's tough. Ooh.
Great. Either way, it's good.
Whoever you bring in, Jay Ruse, I reckon you VC.
All right. Well, if you're looking for a VC, I'm going to switch back to Zorko then, because that's who I'm VCing. I'm going to get Grundy and I'm going to VC Zorko. So I'll go there.
Really good perspective, mate. Yeah.
Yep. Nice, mate. Next, Mitchy Newman. G'day, Mitchy. What are your thoughts on bringing in Clark and Simpkin? Clark, yes.
Clark, yes. Simpkin.
Yeah.
No. Good boys. On the same page.
Talked about that. Let's try this again, please. So what was this?
Oh, sorry, mate.
I have 10 trades left. So where was this from?
Last
Must
week.
have been last week, was it?
Yeah.
I have 10 trades left and 3 more primos to 22 on field. Is it better to go aggressively early to get to 23, 24 primos? You'd be laughing at 24. Or save some trades for the last 5 to 10 rounds just in case. Boys, what do we think here? We've pretty much answered this and covered it a little bit. But because we did miss it, Janath, anything else you can add to the discussion we've already had here, mate?
It's going to be very hard to get to 23, 24 primos and still have trades left, Marty. I reckon the rule of thumb is 2 to 3 trades per primo. So you're looking at finishing with 4 trades, maybe 3, just depending on what primos you go for. I think you just got to save those trades till the end. And yeah, just forget about the fact of trying to get to 23, 24. It'll be pretty difficult unless you got some really good cash gen there. Yeah. Spills?
Beautiful.
Yep. Completely agree with you, mate. I think, that makes perfect sense. Boys, we got through that. Probably a bit. It's always drags on a little bit longer than we want it to. But main thing is everyone's happy. We've answered all these questions. So that's another mailbag done, dusted. We'll try and wrap this up straight away. So we've got a trades for this week and talk about being aggressive. I said I was going to back off this week. Last week, this week. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep going until my team's done.
3, 2, 1 by the looks of it, yeah.
Yeah, so we're going bang, bang, bang. Let me talk you through it. So, yeah, I'm getting huge cold feet on Sexton.
Massive.
Yeah, the power factor scaring me. He's got to buy. And there's a really important point to argue here with sort of holding Sexton is I've only got about 480K to upgrade next week. So Sexton's got to go. I need the money. That 238K is going to set me up for my final upgrade, probably in the forward line. But I've got a bit of a strategy, boys. So these trades, so Dacos has gone into the midfield. And then next week, I'm probably going to bring in Elliot Yeo at 512K. Oh. Yeah, I really like him as a pod. Yeah, look out. Yeah, so I think he went really well on the weekend. I think he's absolutely bottomed out now. And I'm also going to go Sard as well as that loophole. So what I'm going to do is when Clark has that...
Sard.
Yeah.
Essendon Sard. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know his full name, Janath. I'm good with names, but not that good, mate. But look, I think with Clark coming in, there's always that risk with Jordan, but I'm going to have 7 defenders. So I'm going to loophole Clark that week and just see how that goes and then roll the dice using that DPP that we like. So that's my sort of strategy moving forward. Nettie Moyle, been a really nice sugar hit pick for me, and DR, made 120K in 2 weeks. I couldn't ask for anything more or less from him. So he's going to get me what I think and what you boys reckon is the clear R2 of the comp. So I'm never looking back there. I think Dowling, who else is there? There is Kruger. I'd like to get another look at him. But that mid-forward DPP in that slot for me is really important. So these trades, extremely aggressive. But yeah, 238K next week I've only got 2 more upgrades to go. Probably looking at Yo and then maybe Rankin, and then the side's done. Maybe a luxury trade to Rosie moving forward. But yeah, this is really aggressive, and unfortunately, it is going to leave me with 6 trades. So pushing it really fine here, boys. Just cutting it fine. But yeah, get those rookies off the field. All over bye. What do we reckon?
Yeah, don't mind it, mate. Look, I'm keeping faith in Clary for now, but you're getting aggressive, mate. You got to get aggressive at times and back your gut skills. I'm not going as aggressive as you, mate. I'm only the 2 trades to me this week, and that's Dowling in. So going early, I think if you're ever going to go early, it should be a pretty safe one. George is like extremely confident on his job security, so I'll take his word for it. Grundy, I think, is the R2 now, and out goes Darcy Wilson a week late on that, or even a couple of weeks late on that, which is unfortunate. And as Billsy just said, Nettie Moyle absolutely did the job for me. 120k in a couple of weeks, 2 nice on-field scores during the buys, so pretty happy. And 106k left. Next week, I'll be making my last defensive upgrade, and it will either be Elliot Yeo with you, Spills, Jordan Ridley, or Jordan Clark. One of the 3 I'm looking at. So that's me. Janath, you're just doing the one, or potentially even none, because I suppose you could wait on this one, mate.
Yeah, so I think I'll wait until the Crows game to make the decision, see how the boys are tracking. I'm pretty fortunate that my 2 Dogs rookies play beforehand. So it's almost like Fraser, Garcia, if they're both going that 70 range. We'll see how Tom Green obviously goes in the final game. Tom Green is on high alert this week. This bloke, he's on rookie watch. I'm labeling him a rookie. So yeah, we'll see how they go. If one of them don't go overly well, it's pretty hard to just back in 18 in a best 18 round, and Dowling would become that 19, sort of help just give a little bit of wiggle room there. This doesn't affect future upgrades or next week. I should still have 20. Possibly 21 next week, regardless of Graham being traded in or out. It just depends how that goes. But this trade may also not happen. Can also tempt you in a Jeremy McGovern next week. We'll talk next week, but just don't rule him out just yet, mate. If you're talking Elliot Yeo, I reckon Jeremy McGovern should be a good shout. The ball just wasn't there in the 4th quarter. He was on 90 at 3/4 time.
DPP is more the reason I like Yowie, and he was like a clear top 6 midfielder, not defender, midfielder before he went injured, and he's 512k. Yes, I'm taking the risk. Sign me up.
I'm looking forward to this discussion next week. You know, Yo, Ridley, McGovern. I think it's going to be a big one.
He's a
good bloke.
I've actually heard him on Backchat podcast, and he is a good bloke. He's a very funny bloke as well. Boys, let's get this show over and done with. Real rapid fire here, Janath. Take us through it. Let's not get too I don't know. What are the main sort of captains for this week? I think Zorko is the obvious VC. That's what myself and DR are doing. But let's talk about
me. Yep.
So I didn't realize you were looking at that.
Let's put it in here very quickly. This is a pledge. This is a pledge that Dane Zorko VC is happening on Friday.
Yeah. No worries. We'll sort that. Right. We'll sort that one out.
Well, that's what we didn't do.
I'm pretty sure we had a pledge with Neil last week, but I could be.
There's no pledge. Nothing contractually written down.
So what we got a pinky promise to?
We got a pinky promise now with Dane Zorko VC. Unless he's a laid out, we're chucking the VC on Dane Zorko. But no, and the reason I say this is this is actually a really tough round for captains and vice captains. And the fact is, Zorko looks really good. Neil probably gets a tag. Bont, AFL.com.au article came out yesterday from Caleb Sarong, and he was stating that Fremantle will put some attention on him. Now, D, I know you alluded to this on your round review yesterday. You're wondering who it may be. Hayden Young probably seems the obvious one. Probably similar archetype to Jared Berry in the type of midfielder. He did tag Lachie Neale last year as well. So is that the way they go? And this leads me to believe that Caleb Sarong will probably have a good game. So I think Sarong and Luke Ryan are both in that mix. Luke Ryan at Marvel is... Western Bulldogs have been a good plus matchup for designated kickers in recent weeks. I think he's someone to be really having a look at. And if we go, then I don't love the Sydney matchup, but it is one that you could target because, again, the problem with Sydney, and it's something that we had with the Bulldogs in yesteryear, you don't know which one's going to go off. You have Bont and Tim English, and you're like, is it going to be a Bont game? Is it going to be a Tim English game? Same with Sydney. Is it going to be a Goulden? Is it going to be a Heaney? Is it going to be a Warren? Is it going to be a Grundy?
It's but unpredictable to roll the dice on the captain. You can't see these blokes.
So hard.
I'm not even game enough to put the C on Ryan. Like he's elite and has been all year, but I still don't have the kahunas to just go straight C Ryan.
Yeah.
I would rather. I think I'm gonna to put it really simply, Janath. I think Zorko against St Kilda is just so straightforward, but then I think a Sarong is very safe. I think he's going to be pretty solid. So
let me give you a couple more options, Bills, because look, we've got a play in here, and if you told me at the start of this year this guy would be featuring Captain's Corner in round 14, Zach Fisher is featuring in Captain's Corner.
There's no way I'm captaining Fisher.
He's gone 120, 113, 116 the last three. Collingwood give up bulk points. They gave up 111 points to Salem and Rivers. We know how Collingwood give up points to designated kickers under the roof at Marvel. I'm not saying that he's
There's
a captain.
no way. There's no way.
Wouldn't
be caught dead with Fisher's orange.
He's a good option this week. Nick Dacos may get a tag from Liam Shields. We saw how effective it was against Alex Neil-Bullen. Just one to keep in mind. But I think the other safe option this week is Zach Butters against GWS. Will Day scored 137 against GWS. I'm just trying to rack off, but GWS have been a poor midfield in recent weeks. James Warple also scored 112. So if the ilk of those players can score 112s, 137s, Zach Butters at home, not at home, but at NG Stadium in Canberra or GWS's home ground, should be a pretty safe matchup, you would think, although it's the last game of the round. So I'll be going Dane Zorko into Sarong or Ryan. You boys?
Yeah, I was going the same.
Yeah.
Zorko into Sarong was my initial thoughts anyway, mate. Yep.
And we're pledged on Dane Zorko VC.
Yeah, I'm not pledging on Sarong, though. I'm not pledging. I want the right. I want the right to change my captaincy.
You get the right to change.
The problem I have.
I don't want to get slammed because I move away from the schlong. Right now, I'm going in with these with Zorko, right? But I don't want no drive-bys if I decide to go somewhere else for my captain. All right. Not prepared for no drive-bys.
That is not contractually agreed.
Yeah, that's
boys, can I just say the problem I have with not chucking the VC on Zorko is if I put the VC on Sarong and that falls through, I don't know.
There's no one behind it that you love.
You'd think Dacos against North, but they've been for a team that bad, they've been so defensive with these A-grader midfield. I think Dacos is good for a 110. Honestly, I think he'll still play
live against his member Shields. Remember, he's starting half forward like Jincotta was and pushing up to the stoppage on him.
Yeah,
we're right behind it.
They're no slouch defensively. North Melbourne, they'll put some attention.
Last 5 games, they've been the third hardest matchup for inside mids, albeit they're for fantasy. So these are AFL fantasy metrics, but it still correlates to Supercoach just pretty close as well. So
it goes to show that
now.
It goes to show you need to look deeper into the numbers because people just look at North. Easy matchup. Not always the case.
Not necessarily.
Yep. Awesome chat, boys.
Right.
And Will Day. Will Day's the other one. If you've got Will Day, or if you're trading him in, he's definitely a big one in Dusty's 300th.
I've got him in draft, in a keeper draft. So Will Day, come on down, my friend. But Spilsy, we went a tad over time there, mate. But one thing that we do pride ourselves on is that mailbag. I don't think there's too many podcasts out there that get to each and every question. We did miss out on a couple last week. Felt a little bit bad about that. So did take some extra time, but it's all for the community. That's why we're here.
It's an extra half an hour longer than we wanted it to be. But I mean, what's half an hour at this time of the night? I mean, nothing really happening anyway. I'd just be cruising, watching a bit of bloody Amazon on TV, just kicking back, cruising, doing
bit of Amazon.
So, always got time. I'm actually watching the tests. They got the new test series on Amazon. I love it. I just watched the Kerry Stumping saga. It's so good. So
Johnny Best couldn't happen to a better bloke, Spills. Honestly, that bloke. He's such a toss.
I could go on a tangent here, but it is some elite behind the scenes. So I've been watching that. So all I'm trying to say is that's all I'll be doing right now. So always got time to give back to the bloody loyal Supercoach community that we've got here. So
that's so lucky.
Shout out to James Doherty. I'm sorry for calling Jim. What is it? Bairstow a flog, a tool, but I'm sorry, but I reckon you guys agree as well. So
absolutely. And can I just finish off, Spills? I'm so jealous. While you're watching this test series, I'm watching something called Colour Bupplies at the moment. So they're these little colourful, spiky characters that just jump on top of each other and then spin off top of each other. Talk about red ones, the blue ones, the green ones come. If I watch another episode of Bubble Gupplies, mate, let me tell you, I'm going to lose my mind. So,
is that the 2020s version of the Teletubbies?
Oh, it's almost weirder, mate. Like, but I don't know if you blokes have seen In the Night Garden with that Higgle and Wobbly Dobbly and all these characters. It is the most bizarre stuff you've ever seen in your life, Janath.
That is the comedy
kids'
of errors in
cartoons
that.
these days. Like I was blessed growing up in the 80s. He-Man, Thundercats, Ninja Turtles, Voltron. We had the bee's knees. The stuff that kids watch these days.
No, I'd be interested to meet the chap that come up with that show.
Oh,
is Bluey a fan favorite?
I'll tell you what, I reckon Janath would have bumped into him in his trip at Amsterdam. Spills, I'll tell you that much. All right,
is Bluey a go-to in the household?
Oh, no. Let me tell you, Bluey is the best. Bluey is the best because as a parent, you literally relate to everything that those parents are going through. So I will never bag Bluey. It's one of those shows that adults can enjoy as well as kids. So Bluey, magnificent. In the Night Garden. Yeah, this man lives in a mushroom farm. Let me tell you that much. That's all I'll say. Spilsy, we've gone right off track. We're about an hour 50-something here, mate. Finish it off. I'm not going to throw you under the bus with some words of wisdom because that didn't turn out too well last week. It turned into a Let's Bash Janath section, mate. So we'll let you finish it
You know what, boys? You know what? I watched last week's episode, but I actually turned it off when it got to the last 3 minutes. I'm like, I do not want to listen to myself. Absolutely,
it was the best part of the
bed live on air.
It's off 5
moments. For you guys, I had bloody egg on my face. Like, I was like, that's like the worst error I've ever had in YouTube. I've seen my old videos from 20. No, but I've seen my old videos 2020, but that takes the cake. That was shocking. But anyway,
that was golden.
Is what it is.
Golden.
But look, this is always my favorite part of the week. Like during the work, it's always good to look forward to something and sit down with you boys and chat Supercoach, get involved with our magnificent community. It's just this thing's grown out of proportion. It's unbelievable. So yeah, we're forever grateful for the Supercoach community that we got, and I think we've another really effective episode. And yeah, if I had to give any sort of advice, a little bit more prepared this week, I'd say, chuck the VC on Zorko. I think that's the best advice I could give. And good luck for the hardest buy of the week. I think, even though I'm managing to get 19, hardest buy of the week, boys. What am I talking about? The hardest buy of the year. Maybe I've been watching In the Night Garden a little bit more over the test.
Pickle's got to your spills.
Pickle's got to me head because I'm talking absolute gibberish here. I won't ramble on anymore because this is just getting out of control. But yeah, good luck for a very tough bye week, and we're definitely going to need it. Boys, do you have anything else you want to finish up on?
That was perfect for me. I've got nothing, Janath.
All I'll say is
thank God he's got something to say, because if we ended on that, I would have been like, what the fuck?
A Tuesday trade is not a Thursday trade, is not a Saturday trade. Change your trades as you go throughout the week. You don't know anything, as I've found out, except you may cop a drive by the week after. But still, back your gut in.
You make your bed, you can lay in it now. So
back your gut in.
You guys with the quotes here. Come on,
VC Dane Zorko. VC Dane Zorko. That is back in Spills. We've made a pledge here on the podcast. We'll back him in together. We'll live by the sword, die by the sword. We'll either prosper together, or we might all drown together as well. But at the end of the day, I think the moral of the story is that we're together. And that's the main thing. I love you, boys. Great podcast again. Spills, I'll handball it over to you for the final words.
All right. Good luck for this week, boys. Good luck to everyone for round 14. Try and get as many players on field as you can. Don't be stupid aggressive like I am. It's a strategy that involves a little bit of method to the madness. I'm definitely looking at my DPP moving forward. So do not use 3 trades if you can't afford to. But another great episode, boys. Try to keep this one under 2 hours, which we have done, even though our goal was an hour and 20. But I think it's a good time to end. Always love talking absolute nonsense, and more importantly, Supercoach with you two boys. It's always a pleasure, and we'll see you guys next week for the round 15 podcast. So, appreciate everyone for watching.
Boys.
Take it easy, and we'll see you guys in the next pod. Come on, boys. It's not as easy as it looks.